So let's just start with this big question. What if aging wasn't inevitable? I mean, what if everything we've been told about getting older was just plain wrong? What if it wasn't a fact of life but a problem that we could actually solve?
All right, so today we are diving into exactly that. We're going to break down the two massive frontiers in longevity research that are, well, they're completely flipping the script on how we think about aging.
Okay, so first things first, we have to talk about a huge shift in thinking here. The goal has changed. It's not just about adding more years to your life, it's about adding more life to your years. It's all about boosting your health span, not just your lifespan.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The new thinking is that aging isn't just something that happens. It's the root cause of almost every major disease we worry about. Heart disease, cancer, dementia. The logic is pretty simple, right? If you can treat aging itself, you can prevent or treat all those other things at the same time.
So this leads to a really important idea you have to grasp. There's your chronological age, how many candles were on your last birthday cake, but then there's your biological age, and that's the real number that matters. It's how old your body, your cells, actually are on the inside, and that's the number we're talking about turning back. Okay, so that brings us to the first big frontier. This is all about managing your health span. And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi stuff. This is about real, actionable things you and I can do, starting today, to actually lower that biological age. And you might be surprised at how simple the approach is. We're not talking about some crazy, extreme lifestyle overhaul. It's all about what they call the tiny habits approach. Just small, doable changes to how you eat, how you move, things you can actually stick with. But the magic is, they compound over time and lead to massive results.
And how powerful can this be? Well, check this out. One executive, a guy named Hugh Massey, he did exactly this. And he managed to drop his biological age by an incredible 14 years. 14! That is a huge gain in real functional health.
All right, so that's frontier one, what we can control right now. Now let's switch gears and look at the second frontier. This one's a little more futuristic, and it all starts with a completely radical new idea about why we get old at all. It's called the information theory of aging, and it comes from Dr. David Sinclair over at Harvard. He's saying, hey, maybe aging isn't about our cells just wearing out like old parts on a car. Instead, he thinks it's a loss of information. Basically, our cells forget how to be young. They start reading from the wrong page in their instruction manual.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine your DNA is like a perfect song on a CD. When you're young, the CD is flawless. But over time, life happens, and the CD gets scratched up. Now, the song, the original information, is still there, perfectly intact. But the CD player starts skipping and making errors because of the scratches. Those errors, that's aging. But, and this is the absolute game changer, what if I told you that scientists now believe that inside every single one of your cells, there's a backup copy of that original unscratched CD, a perfect, pristine blueprint of your youth, just sitting there, waiting. And that discovery, that's what blows the door wide open to Frontier 2. We're not just talking about slowing aging down anymore, we're talking about actually reversing it. And the tool that's making this happen at lightning speed, you guessed it, AI. I mean, just to put this in perspective for you, without AI, scientists figured it would take something like 160 years and billions of dollars to find the right molecules, the right keys to access that backup information. A whole lifetime of work and then some. But with AI, we're compressing that 160-year timeline into just a handful of years. The AI can build digital models of all the proteins in our body, and then it can virtually test billions of different chemicals to see which ones fit, like a key in a lock. It just chews through the data and spits out the most promising candidates. It's like having an army of millions of researchers working around the clock. And listen, this is not just a theory anymore. The progress has been insanely fast. Back in 2020, they published a paper showing they could reverse aging in the eyes of mice and restore their vision. Just 3 years later, in 2023, they proved this whole information loss idea is a direct cause of aging. And now, they're doing it in monkeys and even testing it on tiny human brains grown in a lab. I mean, the results they're getting in the lab are just mind-blowing. We're talking about regrowing crushed optic nerves by 100%, giving old mice their memory back, literally de-aging their brains, reversing infertility, making old kidneys, livers, and skin young again. It's starting to look like what we thought was permanent damage might not be.
And to get even closer to testing this in people, they're using this incredible tech where they grow miniature human organs in a dish. They call them organoids. So they can take one of these mini brains, for example, make it old in the lab, and then, boom, hit it with these new chemical cocktails and watch it get young again. It's unbelievable.
So, okay, this all sounds amazing, almost too good to be true, which leads to the big question, right? How is this even possible? How can you turn back the clock on a cell without messing it up completely?
Well, here's the clever part. It's not a complete factory reset. They don't wind the clock all the way back to zero. If they did that, the cell can forget what it's supposed to be, a skin cell, a brain cell, and that could lead to cancer. Instead, they do a partial reset. They've found a way to turn the clock back about 75 or 80%. Enough to make the cell young and healthy again, but not so much that it forgets its job.
All right, so let's bring this all home. We've talked about these two incredible frontiers. But what does it all actually mean for you and me, right now and in the future?
This really lays it out perfectly. You have two paths, but they're heading toward the same goal. On one hand, you have today's approach, managing. That's the gradual habit changes, the diet and exercise. It's about slowing down those scratches on the CD and stretching out your health span. Then you have tomorrow's science, reversing. This is the heavy hitter stuff, cellular reprogramming, gene therapies. That's all about reading that backup copy to actually turn back the clock.
So, what's the bottom line here? The big takeaway is that we are in this absolutely unique moment in history. We have the tools right now to take control of our own aging with everything we know from Frontier 1. And at the exact same time, science is just hurtling forward to make the wild promises of Frontier 2 a reality for all of us.
And that leaves us with a final, massive thought to chew on. As science actually learns how to reinstall our youth, what does that even mean for us? How will we completely redefine what's possible for a human life when getting old is no longer a given,